All right. I think we are live this time. Hello, Facebook Nation. We're trying this again. I just gave a whole intro, except we weren't live, but this time I confirmed my face on my phone. Double technology at once. We're here. It's Friday, 7 Gen Live. You know what time it is? Yep, for sure. This is your co-host, Mike Prate. I'm here with Jillian Wong and awesome, super cool guest, Shanice Nez, joining us for this Friday. Shanice, what's going on?
Nothing much. I'm doing really good. Just got done giving some sessions for this morning, but every Friday we have half a day to do professional development and other cool stuff like this. So here I am.
Yeah. So Shanice, for anyone who doesn't know, Shanice is the kindergarten teacher at the brand new Lakota Immersion School, Kanyeja Tokeakji. So Shanice works alongside Sage, working with the 10 students. We're going to be talking a lot today about the school, about what you guys are doing with education, but also, more generally, like what the heck is virtual school? COVID, just this whole thing going on. There's like so much to talk about in the educational realm, but just to, before we even get too deep into that, let people kind of log on to the show and check out what's going on. Let's just get like, Jillian, what you been up to? What's your week been like? How you doing over there?
Well, if I'm being real honest, it's been a very emotional week. It's been long. My only focus this week has really been on my family.
Mm,
I've been at work and getting stuff done, but not my head has not really been there. It's been focused on family just because of some health issues and things that are going on in our family. So just really been taking time to focus on that. I feel really good today. I feel much better, especially because it's Friday. So I got the weekend to look forward to kind of catch up with like household stuff, things like that. But I'm really excited to be here today, especially talking with Shanice. I love talking to Shanice. She's just got a super chill personality. So I'm excited about that. But that's my week I really don't even remember it. I just remember being really emotional this week.
mm.
How are you guys doing? How are you doing, Mike? What's your week been like?
I'm doing pretty good. This is a long, this is a good long week for me. So a lot of cool stuff, a lot of tough stuff. Um, I'll get you guys a picture here right in a second. I'm about to share my screen, but my parents actually made it out for the first time. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Oh,
Uh,
cute.
Baby Willow. So mom
Oh,
and Grandma Prate got out to visit baby for the first time. She's just over 4 months, so that's a big deal. They've been here meeting their granddaughter and hanging out, and really happy to have them. Been pretty special. Glad that she was able to finally get to meet them. I know they've been excited. But yeah, same. What an awesome moment. But then this September is always weird for me. I got my birthday coming up Sunday. September 13th is my birthday, so I'll be born on Friday the 13th, which explains a whole lot, I think, about me. 29, which is cool. But as a New Yorker, September 11th, always a tough day. Got a lot of memories of that day for myself as a young fifth grader at the time, and then for friends and relatives, my dad, kind of intimately involved in a lot of that. So tough day on that end, and then also emotional for me too. Got word of our coworker, Sherry Wright, had a loss in her family, a big person. So wanted to just recognize that and send good thoughts to her. So it's tough, a lot of tough things, and then a lot of good things all in one time.
yeah. I know exactly what you mean. It's like all these good things, and then here's a couple, bad things down here. But I've been hearing a lot of really good stories about Shadow Wright and all the work that he's done in the community. So I'm glad you brought that up. We'd really like to send our condolences, our love, and especially for one of our colleagues, Sherry Wright. She talked about her dad a lot. So I know, she's having a really tough time. So I want to send out our support to her. How long are your parents in town, Mike? Did they already leave?
This is the last night, so they fly
Oh,
out Sunday morning. They'll be leaving back to Rapid City sometime tomorrow afternoon. I think they'll be dragging their feet trying to hang on as long as possible. So
According to your parents, how has the pandemic been in New York?
it's different. It's different. New York has taken a totally different response than South Dakota, like a much more aggressive kind of approach on it. So they, it's different. Definitely, like a lot more businesses actively shut down and affected. My dad and works remote, but my mom works at the public library, and that took a big hit for them. They saw a lot less people coming through just because of mandatory kind of shutdowns and quarantines. South Dakota's on the New York hit list right now because of this. If you go to South Dakota, when you get back, you got to quarantine for 14 days. So just different. I think also just how much people are in one area. It's a different kind of experience than how we are out here, a little more spread out. So
yeah. Well, I'm glad they finally got to get the chance to come out here and finally meet your daughter, their grandchild. I'm sure it's really tough for them to not be able to be there, not in the delivery room, but be at the hospital when all that was happening. So that's really exciting. And that picture, it's the best picture. Your dad's like really checking her out. That's a good one. So Shanice, let's take this time to give you the chance to introduce yourself. We got more people watching on the live. Hello, everybody watching. If you guys have any questions for anybody about anything, feel free to ask right now, even if you just want to leave a comment. And today we're going to be discussing quite a few things, but mainly we want to touch on get an update from Shanice on how it has been during you guys are on the third week, right?
Third week.
Okay, the third week of the new Lakota Immersion school opening. So we want to get an update from Shanice on that. But before we start, Shanice, please give us a quick introduction of yourself. Where are you from? All that.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shanice, and I am the kindergarten educator for the school. Like she said, we just finished out our third week of the school. I'm actually from Chinle, Arizona. I moved here about 2 years ago, and I've been working in education for about 3 years now. But even when I was in college, I did a lot of volunteer work through educational outlets in Omaha. So it's something that I've really grown to love and I'm very passionate about. Yeah, I guess that's it.
awesome. Tell us a little more. Where'd you go to college, and how'd you even make your way to Rosebud? So Chinle, you're Dene from Navajo country. How the heck did you make it up to Lakota country up here?
So actually, I went to Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska. And everyone's always like, how did you end up in Nebraska in the first place? But Creighton does, or I don't know if they still do, but they used to do service trips out to my high school. And they would help students write college essays and apply for scholarships and such. And so I participated in that program when they came, and they helped me out writing scholarships and such. And then I did end up applying because I was very interested in it, because there was 2 students at the time who were from Gallup, which isn't too far from Chinle. So I thought that was really cool, and I was like, oh, maybe I can end up there, and I'll also have a little crew of Navajos. I don't know.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, and so I applied, and I got in, and then they really wanted me to go. They were giving me nonstop calls, like personal calls, calling all the time, making sure like everything was good. And so I was like, well, if that's how the support's going to be all the time, I might as well take that opportunity. And I kind of, at the time, really wanted to get out of Arizona, mostly like away from my siblings. I don't know if that's how everybody feels, but at a certain point, I was like, I need to get away from these guys. And so I took the opportunity, and that was in 2012. And then actually I met my partner. Many of you guys probably know him, but Matt from the food sovereignty team. I met him there at Creighton. We both went to Creighton. And then eventually we moved here about 2 years ago because he really wanted to be closer to family. So Mike actually hit us up and told us about a couple of job opportunities, and so we ended up taking them, and that's how we ended up here. And I don't know. We both found, well, obviously Matt found has love for this place because this is where he grew up at, but I've really grown a connection to it, and so we're kind of here for the long run.
Well,
Awesome.
we're happy you're here. We're so glad you're here. Matt talks about your baking all the time. So hint, hint, really hungry right now.
I know. Actually, because of our new, like this house that we moved into that we're renting, the oven gets extremely hot. Like it just doesn't stop heating up. It like if you set it to like 150, it'll go like to 500. So I actually haven't done a whole lot of baking since we moved into our house, just because our oven is like, I don't know what's going on with it.
Yeah, I was having that same issue with mine actually. We were trying, well, my mom was trying to bake, and basically the outside cooked, but the inside was just nothing but air. So we finally got a new stove, and now I'm adjusting to cooking with it because now it gets too hot too fast. So I'm in the same boat. But how's your family doing out in Navajo Nation with the pandemic? How's it going for them?
I think for a while it was really tough. I know like kind of everyone everywhere. Um, my grandparents are getting a bit older, and so they really wanted them to be safe, so nobody was visiting. And I know my grandma was really having a hard time because she just loves company, much like any other grandma. And so they were kind of isolated, and I think they were really feeling sad about it. But I think it's become like the numbers are going down a little bit. It's become a little safer, and my family actually has been traveling safely, like social distancing and stuff. But I know they took a couple trips out to like Colorado to the river and stuff, and so they seem to be really enjoying it. Everybody seems to be doing well now. I think everyone everywhere is kind of like dipping their toes and kind of going back out and doing a little bit more things.
Totally. Hey, so tell us a little bit about what part of Chinle is where on Navajo reservation? Like what state is it in? Where's it close to? Give us a little context there.
Um, Chinle is in Arizona, and it's relatively close to Four Corners area. So kind of like in that corner, tucked away. A lot of people know where Canyon de Chelly is, so if you know where that's at, it's right there.
And how have you seen based on like conversations with your family and stuff, how have you seen the response from Navajo Nation as well as the kind of surrounding states regarding COVID? Like outside of just your family, what does the larger response look like down that way?
They've taken a pretty strict view on it. So like I know for a while they were doing a lot of like weekend lockdowns. So for I think I want to say it was like 56-hour lockdowns every weekend. So people weren't allowed to leave their homes. And they've required masks early since like probably May, maybe even April. They've been requiring masks everywhere, similar to here. I think Arizona in general has kind of been very, mm, they haven't been responding that well, but I think the Navajo Nation took more of a stricter view on that. And so they've been doing a lot. Um, I think people were having a hard time though, just because of the fact that when they did lock down, the grocery stores would kind of fill up after it was kind of released, and there was really no way to prevent that. Similar to here, like there's only a few grocery stores in the area, and so like once they opened up, everyone needed to get groceries, especially people who don't have electricity because they can only get a limited amount of groceries because they don't have a fridge to keep things cool, so they really only get groceries for like a couple days. So that was really tough, I think. But I think they've been responding really well. And I think Navajo Nations, the number has been going down. So I think I project that it's going to keep going down. So I think everybody's following the rules really well, and hopefully everybody's being safe.
Yeah, yesterday in the news, I seen, I believe it was the day before yesterday. It was the first time, the first day that that the Navajo Nation didn't have any new active cases. So that's a really good sign. Can you remind me again how many different states the Navajo Nation covers?
I think it's 4. So
Okay.
Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and maybe not Colorado. Maybe it's only 3.
That's what I was thinking. I'm gonna have to Google it because I was like, I can't remember if it's 3 or if it's 4. We were having that
I
conversation
think
in the
it's 3.
office.
Now that I'm saying that, I think it's Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah.
Okay. All right, good. Well, awesome. Thanks for, letting us know where you come from and what's going down in Navajo Nation. What did I see Navajo Nation? I seen that Trump went to Navajo Nation and met with some of the leaders. And what are your thoughts on that? Because a lot of people, have their own personal, I don't want to get political here or anything, but a lot of people have their own personal thoughts about Trump. But he was willing to go to the reservation and sit with some of the Navajo Nation leaders. So what are your just like basic thoughts on that? You don't have to get too far into detail.
She said, but I'm gonna ask you anyway.
I have a lot of thoughts on that. I don't really approve of it just because, I mean, for a lot of reasons, but I think it's just hard. I think it's interesting that he wanted to come out and actually speak with some of our leaders. I do appreciate that. I don't really know what was all said. I actually haven't really been keeping up with it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I just find it very interesting.
I'm right there with you because I have my own personal thoughts and what I'm very against. And as far as Trump, my mind hasn't changed, but everybody keeps coming at me with these arguments of, well, he went and sat with Navajo leaders. His administration has now opened, I think, 6 or 7 offices for MMIW, where they're going to focus on violence against Native women and children. So, there's all those things being thrown out there. And I'm grateful for all of that. But at the same time, I'm all about values and morals. And, I just don't think that specific person carries, what I envision a good leader carrying. So, yeah, I'm right there where it's like this. And I don't know. Your thoughts, Mike?
I was gonna say, I think it's interesting because what it really, to me, points to is the power of Indian country in the last couple of years have really started throwing their weight in a good way. To say, hey, we're not someone to be forgotten, and we're not groups to kind of be relegated to history. We are people that have a lot to offer the world, and we're also places that have a lot of concerns within our community. And I think we had OJ Siemens on the show the other day, and I think that I think that comes from a lot of his work and works like his organization organizing for political candidates to make sure they're addressing Native issues and whole forums around Native issues and Native voices. So in my mind, I feel like it's, regardless of whether it leads to anything or not, history will kind of say, we'll see where that all ends up. But I think it really speaks to the power of Indian country organizing and making sure that their voices are heard in a positive way, even in a pretty difficult political situation where, there's been a lot of questionable talk around trying to erase sovereignty and political sovereignty and land, kind of excluding land buyback, a lot of issues. So I guess I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Well said. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I should have been a lawyer or a politician. My hair is not good enough for that. So.
Mary Elizabeth commented, she said that you, Mike, you and her sister have the exact same birthday and you guys are the exact same age.
Okay.
So you're like
Oh.
pretty much like her brother, maybe.
Pretty much like related somehow in the tree of history. But
I
Shanice,
know. I
let's
was telling Mike the other day, I went over to his house for dinner to spend a little bit of time with his parents too, just because we did meet at Mike and Margaret's wedding, and so I just kind of wanted to give some updates with them. But I was telling them that actually last week I had a total meltdown. And I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot Mike's birthday," because I'm a really I really tried to remember people's birthday and tried to like give them shout outs. I'm one of those people. And so I don't know, in the like literally early in the morning, I woke up one morning and I was like, I think I forgot Mike's birthday. And then I had to look at my phone and I realized I didn't.
told Shanice she's one of like this many people that actively would wake up worried that they missed my birthday. So I feel very honored that I
Aw. I very much rely on Facebook. Facebook has saved me so many times.
Me too.
What do you have planned for your birthday, Mike? Anything special?
Nothing, I don't think. I think we're gonna hang out at the house. I'm a homebody, so I'll probably hang out. Margaret said she's got all kinds of cool gifts planned, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. She's got me by surprise this year. I literally have zero idea what they are, so I'm definitely looking forward to unwrapping some presents.
Awesome. Well, Shanice, let's talk a little bit about the school.
Definitely.
Can you please, because I've said this time and time again that I struggle so much with saying the actual name of the school. Can you please give us the name of the school? I cannot pronounce it.
Sometimes I have a hard time still. I don't even say it very often just because like everyone knows of it. But it's Wakaija Tokeachi.
Awesome.
Mike says it all the time. He's really good at it too.
He's really good. He's probably like the spokesperson.
Hey, don't put me on a spot now. Come on now. Oh, these guys. Oh,
Do you need some practice? You've been saying it perfectly, Mike.
Wakaija Tokeakchi. That's how I was told. Somebody correct me. Somebody watching, get on here and correct me. Post a video of how you'd say it. I'm sure stages somewhere out in the universe laughing
They're
out.
just like, these guys are getting it all wrong.
Tell us about I mean, just obvious question, like what the heck is school looking like, especially with kindergartners virtually? You guys decided to go virtual for at least 9 weeks, right?
Yep.
Cool. For health and safety reasons, just wanted to make sure if the tribe was still shut down and you know, just making sure everything was good to go. How has that been? What does virtual kindergarten even look like?
It has been very interesting and a learning experience for everyone, including myself. It's been really good though. Like I'm surprised at how well it is going. We are doing several meetings through Zoom. And then we have a few apps that like I post assignments on and that they can kind of do at home. But I think the best part of it is that like I scheduled it so that we have more like a few one-on-ones together throughout the day. And so like it's not just I'm meeting with all 9 students at one time and then that's it for the day. And I wanted it to be more personal. So if I meet with them one-on-one or with 2 students at a time, that they see me and they are able to ask me questions and get to know me and I can get to know them a little bit better. I think when a lot of people are taking the approach of making pre-recorded videos, and that's really great for some people, but I really liked it to be interactive, and so the best way I thought would be through Zoom, so that like we can pull out things, I can ask questions directly, they can answer directly. But kind of navigating that was a learning experience. And Mike sat in on one of our classes, and I think he was thinking it was a little crazy just because at the time we weren't really incorporating the mute button with some of them. And so we kind of had to navigate on when is an appropriate time to mute people and when do we want their voices to be heard. And also like the background. So it's not necessarily like the children who are making a lot of noise. It's just like their background noise, like at their house. And that's understandable. We have a lot of big families in our class. And I mean, that's really great, but sometimes it does get a little loud. And so we have been trying to navigate that a little bit. I think that was actually one of our biggest struggles was kind of navigating because I'm kind of a quiet person. I'm a little bit louder as a teacher, but not too much louder. I think everyone in general, my whole life, are like, you need to talk a little bit louder. So I think trying to beat out all the very excited and happy kids has been a struggle for me.
Totally.
Yeah.
No,
And then making it interactive enough that like they're so engaged and so wanting to just watch me on the screen has been a learning experience as well, because I'm really great keeping kids interactive in person because I can pull out all kinds of stuff. I'm one of those teachers that likes to make a lot of props. So not getting to do that this year, or at least for this first 9 weeks, has been really tough. So I'm like really trying to make it as fun as possible.
Totally. For those of you who are just joining, we're here 7 Gen Live. We're here with Shanice Nez. If you look at her screen from Zoom, it says Tunli Shanice. She's one of the teachers at Wakanasia Tokeakchi, the Immersion Lakota language school just opened up here on Rosebud. I wanted to give a shout out to Trent Poigny, to Alan Wilson, Gary Dorr, people waving at me on Facebook. What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching. Alan, get on here in the comments. I know you're over at TC. Give us some thoughts. We're talking about virtual education in the time of COVID, about language immersion and cultural educational delivery, culturally relevant education. We got a great show today. So thank you all for joining. Shanice, I had a follow-up question. So, you know, I was shocked because I was thinking about myself as a kindergartner. I was a wild ass little kindergartner. You know what I mean? I wasn't messing around. I was in there getting in trouble, talking to everybody in the classroom. I was one of those people you'd need to be muting on the Zoom for sure. But I'm just thinking about, you know, it's a really interesting dynamic, and I'd love to hear your perspective on the opportunities and the challenges with having students engaging in virtual learning right from their home. I would think that there would be a great opportunity, you know, with parents who are able to actually, especially in immersion language delivery, to sit right there with their child and really engage in that process. But I would also think, like you said, like life's going on. You know, you got siblings, you got chores going on in the background, people have bills to pay, so they need to go to work. I mean, it's kind of a complicated environment. So talk about that a little bit. Like, what are the opportunities and the challenges that you're seeing specifically around students just learning right in their home?
Yeah, so like you said, one of the biggest opportunities is for parents to kind of chime in on it. Like you said, I think even parents are interested in learning the language. I know that was like one of the biggest things when we surveyed some of the parents was like, we want to learn as well. And so like they get an opportunity, like pretty much anyone who logs onto Zoom with these children can pretty much watch and participate. I know a couple of times some of the grandparents have gotten on and they were like pretty excited and hyped up about it. So I think that's really great. And I think that also works in our favor too, because children really pick up on like who is interested, like is this really important, is this worth my time? And if they see like their grandparents, their parents on there like participating with us and encouraging them to participate, they're really like, this must be important, this must mean a lot. Like I know I'm getting something great here, everyone in my family is kind of participating. So we kind of got that going, and like with so much of the support from the families and the parents, oh my gosh, that's what's really pushing us through this virtual learning, because honestly, if we didn't have 50% of those parents on the calls with us, I don't know. I don't know if I'm that great of a teacher to be keeping them super engaged, but I really do appreciate all the support from all of our parents because they really have been helping out. And I'm hoping that they are learning a little bit with us too. But some of the biggest challenges, yeah, like I said, is kind of like I think especially because we started a little earlier than some of the other schools, so I think like older siblings were still getting to like hang out and play and do whatever, and we had to the younger kids had to schedule out this time to hang out with us on Zoom and learn and do their homework, and so I think that was a little tough because I mean, it's really fun to be on the calls, but sometimes, like when we have homework afterwards, that might not be as fun, and they want to just go out and play as well. And then not getting that like connection of being in person. It's it's like they're getting to know me, but not in the same sense that they would be in person. And some of the good things about it is that some of the kids did follow me from Head Start. So I got a few students from last year, so I got that going for me. And then we did do like an initial home visit, so I did meet all of the kids in person beforehand, and then we've been giving out like care packages. We gave out at home learning kits. So I've gone to see them a few times, but they haven't gone to interact with each other in person. And so I think that's been tough because they are a little bit shy because they don't know each other all that well yet because they're just seeing each other through a screen, and it's not exactly the same as being in person. So that was one of our biggest challenges, is building that connection between each other.
Sure. I bet that's super important too. Just, I mean, that's what kindergarten's about, right? I mean, a large part of kindergarten and being little and in school is social skills and interacting with your peers. And so I would think that that would be I mean, we're in a whole new age right now, right? Everything is totally different. So it's crazy to think about what that'll look like. But tell us a little bit too about, so obviously it helps when you have your parents involved, but that's something that you all at the school are trying to do anyway, like increased family engagement and home support. Tell us a little bit more about that and why, even outside of, say like a virtual pandemic environment, why would that be important anyway? Like, how would this continue even when you're in person?
Yeah. So no matter what, we do really want the parents involved. Because like the whole reason we started this school was to get more of the language spoken within our homes, within our community, just overall. And so a big way to do that is also supporting the parents and helping them learn. And so even when we, if we, and when we go back in person, we do still want to incorporate a lot of the parents into this learning environment that we have. And I think I said before, like there has been so many studies done that like parent engagement leads to student success because the students know and have value in their school because their parents know and have value in their school as well. And so it just becomes a whole family thing. And then if we are encouraging the parents to learn, they can also help us and we can become partners in teaching the students. So they can speak it at home and then they can hear it be spoken at school. And so it'll just be more incorporated throughout their whole life and not just like an at school thing.
I'm also curious. I know you just now completed your third week, but how many Lakota words have you guys learned? Is it just a few words here and there? Do they know some full-on sentences already? How's that going?
So I would say right now we're probably about 50-50 teaching in English and in Lakota. And so like we've done, oh, I want to say about 8 letters since we started. I think when me and Sage counted, there's like 37 letters or so in the Lakota alphabet, and so we kind of we had to move fast because it's more than the 26 in English. And so we've been teaching about a letter a day, and then we tried to teach about a couple of words that start with that letter. And then I don't know if anyone saw the video that I posted yesterday, but it was part of our reading session in the afternoon. And so all of our books are read in Lakota. So like, so they hear it, and then we encourage them to say it with us. And then we try to also make it more like personal. So yesterday's reading was about cars, and so we like Sage had like a little toy car that he modeled and was like opening the doors and like showing the windows. And most of these books are based on things that they already see at their house or already lived through, and so we can really just incorporate it. And we try to set it up that they like know what the picture is, and that they probably know the word in English, but we're just reinforcing it in Lakota. As far as sentences go, right now we're just working on mostly individual words. But like I said, our books are all in Lakota, so like they will hear it and they can kind of like understand it and process it. But as far as speaking a whole sentence, we're slowly working up to that.
Cool. That's awesome. We had Alan comment, and he was asking what percentage of the immersion is the school. So he said right now about 50-50, and the goal will be to be 100% delivery throughout the entire day. So if you learn how to add, 2 + 2, everything will be in Lakota numbers, the instructions, the whole nine. I guess that was a question without a question. That's my fault. That was a statement. That was supposed to be a question that had no question mark at the end of it. So my apologies there. I mean, I would be. So you said you're Dinesh from Navajo Nation come up. Obviously not a immediately fluent Lakota speaker. So this is a kind of a learning experience for you as well. What is that like? Like learning while you're teaching, while you're learning? Like, I would be very intimidated, and I give you a lot of props. Obviously you have a good mastery and command of educational delivery and technique. But tell us about like the immersion language side, how that has been for you and your experience.
It has been a work in progress, I'll say that. But it has been really great because Sage, who is the other teacher, he's the school administrator, he's wearing many hats right now, teaching me the language. He is really great. And I know he does have a lot of experience teaching the language. And so he's been teaching me to teach them. But the best part of that is that like really anyone can be helping and can be doing this, any educator out there. So we are really setting up a model to like how are we going to learn it? How are we going to teach it? And the best part of it is that I'm technically like a second language learner, and so and most of these kids are as well. Most of them, their first language is English, and so we kind of got, because he's teaching me and then I eventually teach them, we kind of know where the process is and how it's going to go, and so it becomes a little bit easier to teach the kids. And it has been a lot easier to learn it because there are a lot of resources out there to help me learn. And like I said, Sage is really great at kind of working through some of the pronunciations. We do like kind of a bit of activities where he tries to teach me it, and then I like have to practice every day pretty much. But just like how I'm teaching it, like I learned the basics, like how the letters sound, how the letters look, and then now I can kind of pick up and read it. And so like hopefully we'll eventually get there with all the students as well. And so I'm basically teaching it the way I was learning it. And so because I know what works, because I had to learn it, it's really easy to be able to teach it because I lived through it and I experienced it. And so now I know exactly like what's going to be working the best on also teaching the children.
I was gonna say that give you a whole different level of like empathy and just being able to understand like what their perspective, because you're literally doing it right after school. You have to go sit down with Sage and do your own learning. I think that's pretty amazing. And two, I you guys actually just were awarded a pretty big award from the Walton Family Foundation. Shout out to you all, and to Walton, who and this project, the Walton Project, actually will help fund a basically a first language speaker. So Sichongu elder or someone who is a fluent speaker as first language, or really immersed in that, to kind of provide like real-time professional development and authenticity to you guys, right? I believe that application is coming out sometime soon. So that's exciting too. You hear a lot of, I don't know, as a person who just moved here, like to Rosebud when I came 7 years ago and trying to pick up Lakota and understand different words, etc. There was a lot of debate around, well, are you learning from a real speaker, or are you learning from a second language learner, or are you learning, there's a lot. Which diacritics are you using, etc. But it's kind of cool that you guys are really focused on, well, you need both. Like, you need someone who can deliver who understands teaching praxis, but you do also need that person who really has just spoke the language. And that's what they know, and they can provide that feedback. So I think the commitment to having both perspectives is really cool that you guys are working on that.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I think that is even how we came to kind of making this model up, because Sage picked me to be the teacher because I have a lot of experience with early childhood education, and I know like what practices really work best and how to teach these children at this age. But we do also need, like you said, a first language speaker to kind of help us and support us in like ways like, how do I say on the spot like this particular question, and more of that conversational. Like right now we're focused kind of like what Jillian said, like on these vocabulary words, on specific questions and commands. But this first language speaker will really go in there and be able to have more of that conversational language with some of the students, all of the students. And it will kind of all tie us together very nicely as a full team.
Jillian, as a person from Rosebud, and you kind of have a unique educational background as well. I'd love for you to share a little bit about that. But I mean, what's your take on this school and this opportunity? Like, is this something you were or would have been interested in as a kid? Like, just tell us about that.
Definitely. The more I talk to Shanice and Sage, and I've sat in a couple of Alan Wilson's classes, and I just wish we had that same opportunity. And we have it now, even in my age, even in my own grandmother's age, she started taking one of Alan Wilson's classes. So it's just amazing that now these kids can start even younger than we did. And regardless of what happened to our ancestors, and them trying to get rid of our language, like now these young children have a really easy opportunity to be able to do that. And I did grow up on the reservation. I went to school here, but my mom joined the military, so we moved overseas, and I went to school in a couple of third world countries, but I went on base. So I was able to attend attend school with people of all different ethnicities. I had a lot of Asian people there, Native Americans, African American, white, even Turkish, and Japanese, and those schools, their second languages that they offered, they did offer Japanese, they did offer Spanish, they did offer French. But in none of those schools did they ever even hear of the word Lakota. So I knew that we had our own language, but I never thought twice about learning it in my younger age. But now that I'm older, I wish I had that same opportunity. But my thought, or my own question for you, Shanice, is even so, obviously, these kids are going to be learning the language, they're going to know the Lakota language. But what do you think these kids are going to learn from attending this immersion school? What do you think they're going to take with them into their future? When you compare it to someone like myself who, didn't go to a school like this?
I think one of the biggest components is identity. Being able to identify yourself as Lakota and be confident in your language, be confident in who you are. I think that's life changing. I think I'm kind of the same way. I didn't travel a lot or anything, but growing up, I had a hard time, especially when I went to college, because that was just such a big culture shock. Um, on like being Dene and then being confident in who I am and being confident in my language, being confident in my culture, and being able to express that and share that with other people. That was not something I was confident in, and I'm slowly building that connection. And it'll be really great to see a whole set of youth being confident in who they are, being able to speak their own language, being able to have those values and the philosophy. I think that would be really great. And we do really want to incorporate it in their whole life, throughout the whole day, throughout the whole school. We don't want it just to be like a small portion of one day, kind of that model of like, we're going to learn the language during a special, or we're going to learn the culture during this segment of the day. We wanted to incorporate it all throughout the day, and for them to feel like this is their space, this is my place, I am Lakota. And so I think this is our very best start, and we're hopefully getting towards that and building a very confident nation.
I see where you're coming from with that, because I let you guys know that I attended Alan Wilson's class a couple of times. And every time I left that class, I was like, I feel good. I feel empowered, and I think that does bring you back that sense of identity. And this is who I am. And, this is the language that my ancestors used to speak. And so I see how that can really empower young children. What time is it? So we got it's 1:53 now. So we got a good 7 minutes left to go. But just to give people kind of a look at what an everyday class looks like for you guys. So you said you meet with the children, you got 9 students, so you guys meet together, and then you also have one-on-one sessions. But can you just very quickly walk us through what a typical day of class looks like with Shanice?
Yeah. And so we start pretty early, about 8:30. We often start with a check-in. So just how are you doing? And then they give their answer. Then we often smudge and do like a prayer in the morning, and then kind of go into the lesson. So for in the morning, it's often based on Lakota language. So like I said, we're teaching about a letter a day. And so we do a letter a day, and then we do a couple breakout sessions. So me and Sage take half of the students. And then I work on writing the Lakota language, and he is working on pronunciation. So we split up, and then they work on whatever vocabulary words we have, and he really works on the pronunciation with them. And then they split up with me, and we do writing the Lakota language. And then we do like a math session. So whatever that may be. These past few weeks have been same and different. And so like anything like that, like, is this the same number? If I build a tower that is 5 blocks tall, how many blocks do I need on this side for it to be the same? Those kinds of things. And then we end about 9:30 for that big class Zoom. And then from 9:30 to about noon, I do one-on-ones and then pair sessions. So 2 students at a time, and then we do like a small group activity or like, and that really could be anything. Lately, I've been doing a lot of math, just because I think all the students are very confident. We got a lot of really smart students, and it was hard because a lot of them learned a lot of these math concepts in English, and they know the concept, but we had to reinforce it in Lakota. And so, like, reteaching them how to count, but in Lakota, teaching them the shapes in Lakota, and then having that mindset of like, I know these two things are the same, but I don't want to use the word same, you know? And then we break for like lunch, and that's kind of like their free time. And then at 1 we do our read out loud, and then like a small group. And then in the afternoons we are going to start doing our project based learning. And I think our first project is a Ma Lakota project, and so we wanted to do the 7 values. And so like they'll get a chance to, these are our 7 values. How do we incorporate it throughout our day? What do we do that lives up to this value, and how are we embracing it? And so we're going to start that next week.
Awesome. Super, super exciting. I know we'll have to have you and Sage back on the show. We don't even have anywhere near enough time to get into project-based learning and all kinds of cool stuff. I'm really looking forward. I know you all also recently got some support to partner up with the Wola Kota project, which we had on the show the other week. The Buffalo regenerative buffalo project going on down in Mustang. We have got some support to actually be able to do some traditional harvest with the students and their families, and then start using some of the meat in the school, which is awesome. And you know, sitting and talking to you, sitting and talking to Sage, just thinking about all the opportunities of, you know, what you can teach in just something like a buffalo harvest, not just the language, not just the skills of processing meat, not just but you can actually do, okay, well, if you know, we need this many pounds of bison, how many bags do we need if each bag fits only 2 pounds? And then you're teaching math right in the middle of that lesson. So just this incredible opportunity. It's a totally different way of learning, and I wish I had that as a kid. That's what I'm trying to say. Do better, New York public school system. Come on now. Dang. But here we're at the end of the show. 3 minutes left. Alan over here is again. He said thanks for the shout outs. Chia, keep going. Appreciate all the work that you're doing on language stuff. The classes you've held, all the hours you put into it. We had Phil Two Eagle watching the show. Thank you for the work you're doing at the level of the tribal level of trying to get resolutions and support for Lakota language through at that level, and everything you're doing on the Treaty Council. A lot of good work. Honestly, it's an exciting time. A lot of energy and synergy happening around these different things. So I don't know. That's it. I'm windbagged out. I talk too much. Jillian, you gonna take us out here or what?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think we just have to remember that there are a number of people that have worked to get us to this point. And like you said, people on council, we got Sage, people at Redco and Shanice, and there's just a ton of other people who have really worked extremely hard in getting us to this point. And even though it's a small school of only 9 students right now, just imagine what it's going to be like in the very near future. There's going to be a lot more people involved, and it's just really exciting to know that we finally got to this point. So we're really proud of you, Shanice. You're doing, I always tell you this all the time. I'm sure you're probably hearing it from me. I'm always telling you, you're just doing awesome. You're just, I don't know, you just handle things in such a calm way, but you're very optimistic. It seems like you are just so passionate about what you're doing, and we're so happy that you are here on Rosebud. I'm from Rosebud, but we got Mike and Shanice, you know, they chose to move here, and we're just so lucky to have people like you come from a different place and make a difference here on the reservation. But this is the end of the show. The time is 1:59. It amazes me how quickly time goes by when we have these discussions. I wish we had more time. Do you have any last words, Shanice, that you want to share with those watching?
Yeah, I do. Thanks for tuning in, and just remember, learning is a journey, and you got to start somewhere. Just work at it every day, and I'll see you guys next time.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember, the show is every Friday at 1 o'clock through Facebook Live. All you have to do is go to the Sicangu CDC Facebook page. And I didn't see anybody host a watch party for us today. So we're really hoping that at the next show, you can host a watch party. That'll really help us get some more viewers, get more information out there to the public. And if you can't host a watch party, that's completely fine. But if you could at least share the post and maybe tag somebody who you think might be, you know, who might get something, who might get some good information from these videos. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Doksha.
Yeah.
Ciao.